So, what were things really like in the good old days? Abbotsford Primary School was opened on 1st of May 1877. That's right, exactly 145 years ago. 亚伯斯福特双语小学建立于1877年5月1日，那可是整整145年前哦。It's much older than you, Stanley 校长, Daniel 老师, your grandparents, and even your great-grandparents.Our school was named State School No. 1886 Collingwood, later State School No. 1886 Abbotsford, Lithgow Street. Abbotsford Primary School was one of the 615 schools built within the first 5 years after the Victoria's Education Act 1872. It is a typical example of Henry Robert Bastow's work during the 1870s.The elevation being strictly symmetrical, in Gothic style and complex brickwork patterns and detail. Victoria's Education Act 1872 is a comprehensive system that made schooling compulsory from the ages of 6 to 15, or at least 60 days per year. The government also created an education department responsible for building new schools and training teachers. Henry Robert Bastow, who was a Victorian architect and surveyor for the Education Department, who designed and built our school and many other schools during that time. As Abbotsford was outside the area controlled by the Melbourne Building Act 1849, many of its buildings were makeshift and unsafe. Abbotsford and Collingwood quickly became notorious as an area of low rents and even lower expectations.From the 1850s to 1870s, Collingwood's population was the largest of Melbourne's suburbs. This increasing population provided a vast source of cheap labour for the development of local industries. Some of Australia's best-known businesses had their beginnings in the factories and shops in the area, including one of the country's major grocery chains, Coles.Animal processors such as abattoirs, boiling down works, foulmongers, wool sources, and tanneries were among Abbotsford and Collingwood's first industries. They were attracted to the area due to the easy access to the Yarra River. By late 1880s, 4 of Melbourne's leading breweries were located in Abbotsford and Collingwood. This includes Foster Lager Brewery on Rokeby Street and Abbotsford Brewery.The site of the Abbotsford Brewery is now where Carlton and United Breweries stands. As a poor inner urban area with a rapidly expanding school-age population, Abbotsford Primary School and other schools in Collingwood struggled. The number of attendants was significantly higher than what the school could provide. Stationery such as inkwells, maps, books, and even tables and chairs were in very short supply.Out of school, the children amused themselves playing in the streets. Collingwood residents were badly hit by the Depression in the 1880s with as much as half the workforce unemployed, and the schools played a big part in tying families over this period. In the first decades of that new century, Abbotsford Primary School and other state schools were segregated by gender. They initially focused on what were considered gender-appropriate skills.A girls' domestic art school, and the technical school for boys. Most Collingwood students left school aged 13 or 14. During the 1950s to the 70s, Collingwood increasingly became an area where new migrants, including Greeks, Italians, Macedonians, Lebanese, and Vietnamese, settled and began to raise families.The demographic of the area changed dramatically with Australian-born residents falling to half the population. Abbotsford Primary School's bilingual program was founded in 1984. In 2019, our beautiful heritage-listed building also received a total interior refurbishment. 亚伯斯福特小学在1984年推行起了双语授课。在2019年，我们美丽的校园建筑被列入遗产名录，也进行了全面的内部翻新。